evening, and good night, and welcome to the It's Your Perspective Talk Show. It is Thursday, February 26, 2015. My name is David, a.k.a. Kimba, a.k.a. Christian Longside. Yes, I Soup. We are back. This is the It's Your Perspective Talk Show every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 8 p.m. until, man. To reach us tonight, for sure, you definitely want to call in tonight with comments and questions. 340-201-9005. You can also text us on that number too. But most importantly, Soup, man, they got to get on our website, man. For sure, they got to get on our website to see the show tonight. You know, definitely want to get on our website tonight to see the show tonight. Stop what you're doing, tell a friend. And Soup always says, tell a friend, tell a neighbor, or tell a neighbor, tell a friend. Yes. One of them orders there, you know. Go to our website to see the show tonight. No radio, no TV, internet only. You can only see the show on the internet. No radio, no TV. We don't have a frequency. We don't have a four-letter designator. But we have a website, streaming live from the VI.com. Go on that website, check out the show tonight. All our past shows, recorded live shows, are on YouTube and Ustream.tv. Go on either site and type in It's Your Perspective Talk Show. That's our channel, and you'll see all kinds of stuff there, man. Getting bigger and bigger every day. Definitely want to give a shout out to our classmates, CHS 1982. Here, there, everywhere. If you're out there and hearing us right now, man, give us a call. Let us know how you're doing. Definitely want to give a super mad shout out Soup to Vanessa of Rhythms Arcade Records. Always got to say thank you, man. Thank you so much, Vanessa. Big ups to Julie and Sharice King as well, and all our past guests that have been on our show. Thank you for coming out, man, and spending some time with us. Last night we had Soup. We had Steve Bullock. He was on here last night talking about the STEM program. Yep. It's science, technology,
engineering, mathematics.
Engineering and mathematics, yeah, just real good stuff, you know. And we're on Twitter too. Hit us up via Perspective. And as always, Soup, you ready?
Yeah, man.
All right, bless that mic, man.
Greetings, Rastafari lives. The greatest secret in life is that reality is nothing more than illusion. The physical world does not exist outside of our own belief system and the filter of our own mind. We are, in fact, subparticles of Jah, experiencing creation itself. But as subparticles of Jah, we are swayed over these creations. Everything you have experienced in life, every event, occurrence, object, and person is nothing more than a figment of your own thoughts, beliefs, and words. The problem is that most of us are still asleep. The problem is most of us are still asleep. When you understand this, your entire world shifts and you come to realize the true meaning of life is thus like a lucid dream. You have total control.
Yes, sir, Soup, man. That is the It's Your Perspective poem, man. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. We're going to jump right into Soup is back again every Thursday. Back when we first started doing the show, every Thursday was his segment on Christianity, Ethiopia, and Rastafari.
Yes, sir.
And we went a long stretch there, Soup, without doing it.
Yeah, man. We went there for a good minute.
Yeah, we were just because we had guests.
Yes, and that come first.
And then we were also, too, we used to do we have our own segment, too.
We are the guests.
Yeah, we are the guests. We have no guests, but we are the guests.
Yes.
But Soup is the guest tonight, and we'll be right back. Stand by.
Yes, sir.
All right. We are back. This is the It's Your Perspective Talk Show every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 8 p.m. until, man, tonight is Thursday, February 26th, 2015. This is David, a.k.a. Kimber, a.k.a. Christian, alongside. Yeah, so tonight's Soup, man, Soup is going to continue on, I guess, from where he left off, which was months ago, on a topic, Christianity, Ethiopia, and Rastafari. So, Soup, man, you ready?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, man. Just blaze it up, you know?
Greetings and good night. One perfect love to one and all. As Kimber was has spoken earlier, that we are doing this topic here for a while, but we are stopped because due to the mechanics of the show, we had guests upon guests, and we just continue to let the guests them be interviewed, and that was the best thing for our show. So, but tonight we are the guests, so we decide that let's take up where we left off. Not even start from where we left off, but continue the conversation, as Gary loved to say.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
So we're gonna continue the conversation with Ethiopia, with Christianity, Ethiopia, and Rastafari, how the three of them link, and it's basically one thread. You know, it ain't really no difference. It's just really semantics, names, and words, but it's the same liberty, the same traditions. So I want to start by reading a couple Psalms tonight. Psalms 87. His foundation is in the Holy Mountains. Jah Rastafari, love of the gates of Zion, Mora, and the dwellings of Jacob. Glorious things are spoken of thee, O city of Jah Rastafari, Selah. And I will make mention and Rahab and Babylon to them that know I hold Philistia, Terry, Ethiopia, this man was born there. And of Zion it shall be said, this and that man was born in her, the highest itself shall establish her. Kedema win price last side, the first year of the Father Almighty shall count when ready to be people that this man was born there. All singers and players and instruments shall be there, because springs of life and love are indeed 5 and 5 or more. Psalms 1. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the ways of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. For I light is in the law of his majesty in Christ last side, the first year of the Father Almighty, and in his law do I meditate day and night. And I should be like a tree that planted by the rivers of waters that bring forth the fruits in due season. And I life and I lack shall not wither, and whatsoever I do it must prosper. The wicked and ungodly are not so, but like the chaff of the world's sun and power drive it away. Therefore, the ungodly shall not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. But Kedema win price last side, the first Jah Rastafari. Know it the way of the righteous, but the way of the ungodly and the wicked shall perish and burn with brimstone and fire. Psalms 4. Hear I when I call, O Jah Rastafari, righteousness. Thou hast enlarged I when I was in distress. Have mercy upon I and hear I pray. O ye sons of men, how long will you turn my glory into shame? How long will you love vanity and seek after falsehood, Selah? But know that Jah Rastafari Almighty has set him apart who is godly for himself. Kedema win price last night, the first Jah Rastafari Almighty will hear when I call unto him. Stand in now and sin not, but commune with your own heart and be still, Selah. Offer the sacrifice of righteousness and put your trust in Kedema win price last night, the first. There be many that say, who are sure us any good. Kedema win price last night, the first Jah Rastafari Almighty. Lift thou up the light of thy countenance upon I and I. Thou hast put gladness in thy hearts, more than the time that they wine and they grain increase. Thou wilt both lie me down in peace and sleep, for thou Kedema win price last night the first Jah Rastafari, only make us I and I to dwell in safety. Psalms 8. O Kedema win price last night the first Jah Rastafari Almighty, how excellent is thy name in all the earth. Who has set thy glory above the heavens? Out of the mouth of babe and suckling hast thou ordained strength, because of thine enemies, the Almighty still the enemies and thy bench. When I consider thy heavens, the works of thy finger, the moon and the stars with the house of thee. What is man that thou art mindful of him, and the son of man that thou visitest him? But thou hast made him a little lower than the angels, thou hast crowned him with glory and honor. Thou madest him to have dominion of the works of thy hand, and thou puttest all things under his feet, all sheep and oxen, yea, the beasts of the field and the fowls of the air and the fishes of the seas, and whatsoever pass through the paths of the seas. O Kedema win price last night the first Jah Rastafari Almighty. How excellent is thy name in all the earth. Bless the hearing and the reading of thy words, O Jah Rastafari Almighty. The Ethiopian Royal Creed. Kimber, this creed is this psalm here that I and I are going to read is a psalm that when we have in Nyabingi.
Yes, sir.
This is one of the psalms that we open up with Jehovah's.
Yes.
Princes and princesses. Prince and princesses must tread out of Babylon. Ethiopians now stretch forth her hands unto Kedamawi Selassie the first. Jah Rastafari. O Kedamawi Selassie the first of Ethiopia, and I, Divine Majesty, thy iris coming to I and I to dwell in the paths of righteousness. Lead I and I, help I and I to forgive, that I and I must be forgiven. Teach I and I love and loyalty on earth as it is in whole Mount Zion. Endow I and I with thy wise mind, knowledge and understanding to do thy will. Thy blessings I and I, O Father Jah Rastafari, to let the hungry be fed, the naked clothed, the sick nourished, the aged protected, and the infants cared for. Deliver I and I from the hands of my enemies, that I and I must prove fruitful in these first hours, when I enemies are the past and the caves, in the depths of the seas, and the depths of the earth, and in the belly of the beast. Give I and I a place in our ever-living kingdom, Father, through the power of the King of Kings and the Lords of Lords, the conquering Lion of the tribe of Judah, elect of His Majesty and Himself, and light of this world, and I, Divine Majesty, Jah Rastafari, and I, first ancient King of creation, the Art and the Alpha, the first and Alpha and Omega, the beginning without the end, the first and forever, the protector of all human faith, the ruler of the universe, thou art the only high priest after the order of Melchizedek, without father, without mother, who liveth and reigneth forever. And I hail thee, and I, Father, King Rastafari, Kedamawi Selassie the first Almighty, Rastafari, great and thunderable I, Jah Rastafari, eyes is I, yes I. His Majesty speaks. This is one of the speeches of His Majesty. Knowing that material and spiritual progress are essential to man, we must ceaselessly work to attain the attainment of both. Only then shall we be able to acquire that absolute inner calm, so necessary to our well-being whenever conflict arises between material and spiritual values. The conscience plays an important role, and everyone who suffers from a guilty conscience is never really free from this problem until he makes peace with himself and his conscience. Discipline of the mind is the basic ingredients of genuine morality and therefore of spiritual strength. Spiritual power is the eternal guide in this life and the life after. Because we're not just here upon earth and thinking that after earth this is it. We just really and truly, we just passing through this. It's just a one plane, one dimension that we're just going through. You know, okay, don't stop here at all. This is just a dimension that we're going through. Preparing us for that next greater dimension. For man ranks supreme among all creatures. Lead forward by spiritual power, man can reach the summit determined and destined for him by the great Creator. Since nobody, Kimba, can interfere in the realm of His Majesty Kedamawi Selassie the First Almighty, we should tolerate and live side by side with those of other faiths. In the mystic traditions of the different religions, we have a remarkable unity of spirit. Whatever religion they may be, they may profess, they are spiritual kinsmen, while the different religions in their historic forms bind us to limit world groups and militate against development of loyalty to the world community. The mystics have already stood for the fellowship of humanity in harmony with the spirit of the mystic of ages gone by. No one should question the fate of others, for no human being can judge the ways of Kedamawi Selassie the First. Jah Rastafari, eyes is I. Yes, I. I just wanted to take a story from out of 1 Kings chapter 1. This is when David gave the permission unto the high priest them to anoint King Solomon, his son, the king of Ethiopia, or king of Israel. Ethiopia, Israel is the same thing, the same name, is the same tradition. So you say one, you say two, they intertwine and they go back and forth. So if you hear me say Ethiopia, or hear me say Israel, it's the same people I'm talking about, same people that I'm dealing with. You check? Yeah, it was like David had a couple sons, and at the time Rehoboam was going around. He had went to his buddies and let his buddies anoint him king. You know, so Bathsheba now, David's wife, went to David and asked David, well, David, I thought you had promised me that your son Solomon was going to be king after you and nobody else. And David said, yeah, that promise still stands, you know. So, but she said, no, that can't be happening, because right now, this youth man here parading around, telling the people that he's king of Israel. So anyhow, I'm going to start from 1 Kings chapter 1 verse 28. Then King David answered and said, call Bathsheba to me. So she came unto the king's presence and stood before the king. And the king took an oath and said, as Jah live, who has redeemed my life from every distress, just as I swore to you by the Lord Jah Rastafari of Israel, saying, assuredly, Solomon your son shall be king after me, and he shall sit on my throne in the place. So I certainly will do this day. Then Bathsheba bowed with her face to the earth and paid homage to the king and said, let my Lord King David live forever. And King David said, call to me Zadok the priest, Nathan the prophet, Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada. So they came before the king. Then the king also said to them, take you, the servants of your Lord, and have Solomon my son ride upon my mule, and take him down to Gihon. Now where is Gihon? That's a good question. Let me go back now to Genesis chapter 1. Gihon is the river Nile that runs through from Ethiopia to Egypt and go down into Chad and all them places there, David. It's the river Gihon.
Okay.
You know, that's what they name it in the
Gihon.
It's called by different names, but that's one of the names. When they describe when Moses was describing the Garden of Eden in chapter 1, he started to talk about the river. There were 4 rivers that run through the land of Eden. You know. So I just wanted people to hear that. Genesis chapter 2 verse 10. Okay, start from verse 8. Now Jah Rastafari planted a garden eastward in Eden, and there he put the man whom he had formed. And out of the ground Jah Rastafari made every tree grow that is pleasant to the sight and good for the food. The tree of life was also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Now a river went out of Eden to water the garden, and from there it parted and became 4 riverheads. The name of the first is Pison, or Pison, which is the one that skirts the whole land of Havilah, where there is gold, and the gold of that land is good. Bdellium and the onyx stones are there. And the name of the second river is Gihon, and that one compasses the whole land of Cush. That compasses the whole land of Cush. Cush, Ethiopia, Midian, all of them is one. Just names, different names, different names. Cush, Ethiopia is the same people. Midian is the same thing. The name of the third river is Hiddekel, the one that goes through toward the east of Assyria. The fourth river is the Euphrates. Okay, so the second river, Genesis chapter 2 verse 13, the name of the second river is Gihon. This is the one that goes around the whole land of Cush. Cush is Ethiopia. Everybody know ancient Cushites, Ethiopians, same people, no different. Now, as I go forward now,
into 1 Kings chapter 1 verse 30, where Solomon is directing now the high priest. The king called and answered and said, call Bathsheba to me. So he called unto the king and said and told them. And the king took an oath and said, as the Lord liveth, who has redeemed my life from every distress, just as I swore to you by the Lord God of Israel, saying, assuredly Solomon your son shall be king after I, and he shall sit on my throne and in my place. So I certainly will do this. Then Bathsheba bowed her face down to the earth and paid homage to the king, and said, let my Lord King David live forever. And King David said, call to I Zadok the priest, Nathan the prophet, and Benaiah the son of Jehoiada. So they came before the king. The king said to them, take with you the servants of your Lord, and have Solomon my son ride on my mule, and take him down into Gihon. So the tradition was that all the kings of Israel had to go down into Ethiopia to be anointed king. They had to leave Israel to go down into Ethiopia. That was the tradition. It's no different. It's no different about people. When you see Israel, when you hear Israel, when you hear Ethiopia. The whole land of Ethiopia, where they call in Africa right now, it was Ethiopia. It was one land. It was one land, but the conquerors them came in and gave it a different name, Africa. But it's Ethiopia. That is what the Greeks and the ancient Egyptians know it as, because Ethiopia is Egypt mother. Okay? Civilization started in Ethiopia and went up the river Nile. You know, it left from Ethiopia and went up into Egypt. Okay, so that's where everything started in Ethiopia. So that's why everything have to go forward again. You have to go back into Ethiopia. The king also said to them, take with you the servants of your Lord, and have Solomon my son ride upon my mule, and take him down unto Gihon. They led Zadok the priest and Nathan the prophet, anoint him king of Israel, and blow the horn and say, long live King Solomon. Then you shall come up after him, and he shall come up and sit upon my throne, and he shall be king in my place, for I have appointed him to be ruler over Israel and Judah. Benaiah the son of Jehoiada answered the king and said, Amen. May Rastafari the king say so too. As the Lord said, as Rastafari has been with my servant the king, even so may he be with Solomon, and take his throne greater than the throne of my master King David. So Zadok the priest, Nathan the prophet, Benaiah the son of Jehoiada, the Cherethites, the Pelahites went down and had Solomon ride on King David's mule and took him to Gihon again. They took him into Ethiopia to anoint him king of Israel. All the high priests and his servants took Solomon down into Ethiopia to anoint him king of Israel. So it was a tradition known from ancient sea that you have to go into Ethiopia to be anointed king of Israel. When I say that, I'm saying that to say that Israel is a black man. He's an Ethiopian. Then Zadok the priest took the horn of oil from the tabernacle and anointed Solomon. And they blew the horn, and all the people said, long live King Solomon. And all the people went up after him, and the people played the flutes and rejoiced with great joy, so that the earth seemed to split with the sound. Now Adonijah and all the guests who were with him heard it, and they have finished eating. And when Joab heard the sound of the horn, he said, why is the city in such a noisy uproar? While he was still speaking, there came Jonathan the son of Abiathar the priest, and Jehaniah. And Adonijah said unto him, come in, for you are a prominent man, and bring good news. Then Jonathan answered and said to Adonijah, no, King David has made Solomon king. The king was sent with him, Zadok the priest, Nathan the prophet, Benaiah the son of Jehoiada, the Cheserites, the Pelethites, and they have made him ride upon the king's mule. So Zadok the priest and Nathan the prophet have anointed him king at Gihon, and they have gone up from there rejoicing, so that the city is in an uproar. This is the noise that you have heard. And Solomon sits on the throne of the kingdom. So brethren and sisters all over creation, Israel, Ethiopia is one nation, is the same people, is no different. Is no different. They all are one. It has been said Africa or Ethiopia is the birthplace of civilization. The Bible shows her to be the Garden of Eden. The gold of that land is good, and there is bdellium, the onyx stone. The name of the second river is Gihon. The same is that compasses the whole land of Ethiopia. Genesis chapter 2, verses 12 and 13. From what we know, Ethiopia is a land with all known animals and trees, plus it is rich with natural resources also. Any kind of fruits you could think of, any kind of animals you could think of, you could find it in Ethiopia. And when I say Ethiopia, I mean Africa. You could find them right there, so any kind, I don't care where it is, you could find it there. Being the birthplace of civilization, Adam and Eve must have been citizens of Ethiopia. Adam and Eve multiplied the earth. However, due to the wickedness of their children, the earth was washed with water. One family was saved, and that was the family of Noah. Noah and his 3 sons. Noah, his wife, and their 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and their wives were saved. Was the only 8 people then was left alive after the deluge. And that had to be something for the Almighty to totally just wipe out everything. That man and beast had just gone haywire. If you kind of look at it, you could look at it maybe according to what we're seeing right now upon earth, what's happening right now, Kimba. You know?
The same comparison.
Same comparison, yeah. You understand me? Because as Solomon always said to us, it's nothing new upon the face of the earth. So what happening now don't happen already. After the flood, Noah and his family came along with the pairs of all families and with all pairs of all animals and birds landed in Ethiopia. It was there that all the animals and birds were released. After they had all settled down, Noah planted a vineyard from which he made wine. He got drunk and caused his nakedness to be seen by his son Ham. When Noah found out, he cursed Ham, and he said, "Cursed be Canaan, son of Ham." What he said, "Cursed be Canaan, son of Ham. A servant of servants shall he be unto his brethren." And he said, "Blessed be Rastafari of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant." Genesis chapter 9, 25 to 27. Such a prophecy was fulfilled when Canaan, son of Ham, enslaved Shem in Egypt, and also when Canaan was enslaved by Shem in Jerusalem, being servants of servants. Japheth enslaved Shem and Ham in the modern world in the Western Hemisphere. Japheth has not yet been enslaved. Japheth has not yet been enslaved, but is coming. Japheth, last son of Noah, migrated to the Caucasus Mountains, where he was struck with leprosy. Japheth, the last son of Noah, migrated to the Caucasus Mountains, where he was struck with leprosy. The Caucasus Mountains in those mountains up in Russia. That's where the Caucasus Mountains are, up in Russia. And if leprosy, a white spot, break out abroad in the skin, and the leprosy cover all the skin of him that had the plague, from his head even to his foot, wheresoever the priest looketh, then the priest shall consider and behold. If the leprosy have covered all his flesh, he shall pronounce him clean that had the plague. It is all turned white, he is clean. But when raw flesh appeareth in him, he shall be unclean. Leviticus chapter 13, verse 12 to 14. The sons of Japheth, Gomer and Magog and Madai, and Javan and Tubal and Meshech and Tyrus. Like these were the eyes of the Gentiles divided, and their lands, every one after his tongue, after their families in their nations. Genesis chapter 10, verse 2 to 5. The earth was of one language, We didn't have all this babbling upon the earth. The earth was of one tongue. And the people united. Nimrod, the grandson of Ham, decided with his colleague to build a city with a tower to touch the heavens. Now I want to elaborate on this statement right here for a minute. The earth was of one language and the people united. Nimrod, a grandson of Ham, decided with his colleagues to build a tower to touch the heavens. Every time I start to read this verse and I meditate upon this verse, I say, well, these brethren, them either had to have aircraft, they had to have super planes, because it wasn't no tower just to be built to reach up to the heavens. Because if it was just a tower to build up bricks, I didn't think they could have built it brick by brick by brick to reach the heavens. So they had to have super way to travel, to break sound barriers and all of these things. These things they were traveling. They were traversing the earth and the hemispheres. So they had to have flying machines. They had to have machines to take them up and bring them back down. To get these things to be built, that even the Almighty now, Jah Rastafari. What? These men building a tower to reach Zion, the man? I can go down there and check what these men doing. So Jah came off of his throne. Jah come off of the throne to see the city of man. The man that must be had to be in a sight to see. We thinking now that Dubai and World Trade Center, there was some marvelous engineering, but we don't surpass those things long time ago. Realizing, Jah came off his throne to see the city of man, realizing that the earth had one language and was well united. They had the power to do anything they conceived to do. Jah confused the language of the earth because of man's evil ideas. The city was called Babel because of what Jah did to man's language. He confused the tongue, so everybody so started to babble. It was a babbling, you understand? So that's where that word babble come into play and all of that, Traveling from Africa, we find Abraham. Abraham had two sons, Ishmael and Isaac. It was from Isaac that these great nations was to be formed. Jah told him to go to the land of Canaan, and we will make him a great nation. He, as of the line of Shem, father, told him that his seed shall be slaves in a foreign country for 400 years. It was 400 years that Israel slaved in Egypt to Ham. So again, my brethren and sisters, be careful and be mindful. Because Jah tell we come out of Egypt and now we are running right back into Egypt, full-fledged, with our eyes wide open. You know what I mean? So we got to leave that there aside. We got to leave Babylon and come home. We done past Egypt. We beyond Egypt now. But it's still in our DNAs, That's why we still kind of favoring back and forth, wavering back and forth, because the last remnants of Sinai, when the slave ship them came out into the west, it was Egyptians that went down into Mali from half of those seas that took up those nations of Mali and Senegal. That's why Egypt is in our blood so much that everything for us is Kemet, Egypt, Nefertiti. We have so much, and we don't want to regurgitate back to Ethiopia, the original foundation of where that whole thing really started from. So just be mindful and careful of your thinking and your behavior. Father told Abraham that his seed would be slaves in a foreign country for 400 years. It was 400 years that Israel slaved in Egypt to Ham. Shem captured and enslaved Canaan in Jerusalem, and also 400 years since Ham and Shem have been enslaved in the Western world. To Japheth's children, Isaac married Rebekah, who gave him twins. These twins fought in the mother's womb. Jah told Rebekah that within her are two nations. They shall be separated, the older shall serve the younger. When they were born, the first came out red and hairy. He was called Esau. The younger, which was dark and smooth, his name was Jacob, which is you and me. It's evidence. If who have eyes to see, gonna see, You understand me? And if you don't want to see, that's up to you. Because it's written in black and white. It's written in the modern day King James Version of the Bible. Whichever version you want to read. The version doesn't make a difference because the word stand and the truth stand. It is the same. Yeah. It is there. You understand me? Yeah, so. When they were born, the first came out red and hairy, and he was called Esau. The younger, who was dark and smooth, was named Jacob. Esau was a hunter, while his brother was more like his father, a man of prayer. Jacob caught his brother hungry one day and sold him some food for his birthright. Esau did not care too much for his father's blessing and agreed on the sale. When Isaac, their father, was to give up the spirit, he sent Esau to fix him his favorite meal, so he could have his last meal and then bless him. Rebekah knew of the sale between her two sons. She told Jacob about what his father said to his brother. She dressed him up in a goat skin, hairy like his brother. She also fixed the food the way that his father liked. She took the full responsibility for the act before Jah. When Jacob reached his father, she spake and said, and his father recognized his voice. Isaac's eyes had grown dim, so he could not see. He called Jacob near to him, so he could touch him, and said, the voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are hands of Esau. Genesis chapter 7, verse 22. So his father ate his food and blessed Jacob. When Esau returned and found out what had happened, he was furious. He begged his father to bless him, which Isaac did. Esau vowed to kill his brother for what he had done to him. Twice now he had outsmarted him, and now he did not like the blessing his father had given him. Until this day, Esau, also known as Edom, is revenging his brother Jacob. Jacob's name was changed to Israel. Israel, as we know today, are not the children of Jacob. Remembering Esau's red and hairy skin and Jacob's dark, smooth skin, those people that call themselves Jews today are the Edomites. They are Esau's children, people. And nobody wants to tell you that. Nobody wants to say that. Nobody wants to black the word son and speak it black and black because it's written right there. So now it's just for us to use our wise mind to understand what they're really dealing with. But it's right there in plain black and white. According to the blessing that Isaac had given Esau, he would have dominion and break the yoke from his neck. Somewhere in history, Esau's children found strength and switched names with Jacob and took away the birthright. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews that are not, but do lie. Revelation chapter 3, verse 9. I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. Revelation chapter 2, verse 9. These Jews are Esau's children who married into Ishmael's family. As we go on, I will make mention certain points showing why these Israelites are false. Israel had 12 sons, through which come the 12 tribes of Israel. Joseph is one of those sons of Jacob. Joseph is one of those sons of Jacob and was sold into slavery by his brothers. By the grace of Jah, he became viceroy of Egypt. He was second in command to Pharaoh at that time. There was a famine in the land and his brothers came to Egypt to buy corn. Joseph was in charge of the clan, recognized his brothers, but to them he was another black man, Egyptian Ham's children. Joseph, after testing his brothers to see if they had changed, sent home for the rest of the family. The children of Israel prospered in Egypt. This placed jealousy in the hearts of the Egyptians, and soon they had reduced the Israelites to slavery. It was during slavery that they began to killing off the young sons of Israel when Moses was born. Moses was of the children of Levi, sons of Israel. His mother, knowing that the Egyptians would kill her son, hid him at the river and let his sister watch him. It so happened that Pharaoh's daughter went for a swim and found a young child. She loved the child and wanted him to be her own. She took this black baby to her father and told him the child was her own. Pharaoh did not question her daughter, for he had nothing to prove she was lying. The child was not red and hairy. Egypt is an African country. So those people that we see today are not the descendants of the original man that live in Egypt that built those pyramids. Those are invaders. Those are Johnny-come-latelys. That's why they have no respect for those, for the monuments and the pyramids and all of those things in Egypt. They don't respect them. They respect the mosque and all those other things, but they don't respect the foundation of Egypt. They don't. You know? She took this black baby. The child was not red and hairy. Egypt is an African country whose people have dark and smooth skin. Moses went to the best school Egypt had to offer, and at that time, Egypt had the best. He knew he was a Hebrew. He knew he was a Hebrew Israelite. Moses soon had to flee Egypt because word got out that he who was that had killed an Egyptian for his people's sake. He settled now in a place called Midian. Again, I tell you, Midian, Ethiopia, Israel, all of them is one people, one blood. A place called Midian where he married an Ethiopian princess and had sons. One day, he was feeding his flock and saw a bush burning, the ganja tree, you know. That's the only bush that could have burned and was not consumed, brethren. The ganja tree. Mystic bush. He was amazed and went to investigate. He found Jah, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Moses conversed with Almighty Jah about conditions in Egypt. Jah sent Moses to free the children of Israel from slavery. Fear was in Moses' heart for who? For who would follow him when he told them that Jah of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob have sent him to free Israel? He was scared, he was shy, of course. He gonna take on his task now. He had just killed an Egyptian for the sake of a Hebrew. You know? So he started questioning himself and he started questioning God. Fear was in Moses' heart, but he could not follow. But who would follow him when he told him that Jah, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob had sent him to free Israel? So Jah showed him a few miracles to strengthen his faith. One which was to show evidence that Israel is an African race, an Ethiopian race. Leprosy is disease that changes the black skin from its natural state to white. Leprosy is a disease that changes the black skin from its natural state to white. And Jah said furthermore to him, "Put now thy hand into thy bosom." And he put his hand into his bosom. And when he had taken it out, behold, his hand was leprous as snow. And he said, "Put thine hand into thy bosom again." And he put his hand into his bosom again, and he plucked it out from his bosom, and behold, it was turned again as his other flesh. Exodus chapter 4, verse 6 to 7. Jah guided Moses in Egypt and took his people out of Egypt. Those people would be Father's nation. He took them through the wilderness until they were purified and united. He had to burn out all the old seed, all the old brother to get burned out. All the old thinking, all the old mentality. Even though they have come out of Egypt, they are still thinking like Egyptians. They are behaving just like how they was in Babylon. So they had to walk 40 years within the wilderness. Although they were right there to cross Jordan. They were right there so. But Jah let them walk for 40 years until the generations die out that he needed to get rid of. Before they could have make the next the next trad. Jah guided Moses and Egypt to take his people out of Egypt. These people will be Father's nation. He took them through the wilderness until they were purified and united. He gave them laws to govern them. Most of these laws are important factors in today's society. As any nation, they had a system of government. It is Jah created government, you know. Government was not created by man. It's Jah created government for man. So man has to be very, very mindful and careful how they operate government, because they are blessed to be in charge of a government that Jah created for us. That means it's for the people, by the people, not for you who are in power to make you feel that you might and powerful. No, it's to share the wealth with the people. Okay, so be mindful, people. Be mindful. Many wars were fought by this new nation, Israel. At last, they were at the river Jordan in Jericho. Moses gave up the spirit. Joshua, a chosen warrior of Jah, led Israel across Jordan to conquer the land of Canaan. Father had promised this piece of land to Abraham many generations ago. Abraham dwelt in the land of Canaan, and Jah said unto him, Lift up now thine eyes and look from the place where thou art northward and southward and eastward and westward. For the land which thou seest to thee, I will give it to thy seed forever. Genesis chapter 13, verses 14 and 15. Israel dwelt in the land of Canaan, which they named Jerusalem, for many generations. Soon they had forgotten Jah and even dwelt in their hearts. They were delivered into the hand of the Philistines for 40 years. During this time, a son was born in Israel. His name was Samson. Mighty warrior. 7 big bongo he had. Who was a Nazarene? A Nazarene today. Let me read what a Nazarene is. A Nazarene, I'm going to read it out of Numbers chapter 6, which in modern day times now is Rastafari. The Nazarene, when you take a vow of a Nazarene, when you take a vow of a Nazarite, when they ask a Yeshua, can anything good come out of Nazareth? You know? It's from back then they had a stigma against the bongo man them. It wasn't just from today, it was all from back then. You know? Then Jah spoke unto Moses, saying, Speak to the children of Israel and say to them, when either a man or a woman consecrate an offering and take a vow of a Nazarite to separate himself unto Kidamawin Price last night the first Almighty, he shall separate himself from wine and familiar drink. He shall drink neither vinegar made from wine nor vinegar made from familiar drink. Neither shall he drink any grape juice or eat any grapes or raisin. All the days of his separation he shall eat nothing that is produced by the grapevine, from the seed to the skin. All the days of the vow of his separation, no razor shall come upon his head. Now tell me, Aya, this is Numbers. This is about the 5th chapter in the book. No, this is about the 5th book in the Bible, or the 4th or the 5th book in the Bible. 1, 2, 3, 4. The 4th book in the Bible, Numbers. And they tell you that you can take a vow and separate yourself unto the Most High, and no razor will come upon your head. Tina Rastamanda be today, in today's terms, in today's liberty. All the days of his separation he shall not eat nothing from the grape, nor seed to the skin. All the days of the vow of his separation, no razor shall come upon his head, until the days are fulfilled for which he separated himself. So to Jah Rastafari he shall be holy. He shall be holy. Then he shall let the locks of the hair of his head to grow. So when I see a Rasta man, I mean talking about a locks, man. I mean talking about a man that got dreads in here. Talking about a man that lives in a conscious life and have his natty bongo. This is something that we just decide to just go locks up. Some of us do, but some of us do it because it's a calling from Jah. It's a separation unto the Most High. It's a vow. And all the prophets that come through from Adam straight back up to John to Yeshua, all these men take a vow of a Nazarite. All of them. Samson, even Samson's mother prayed that when she get a son, because she was barren, she said, Father, if you give me a son, I gotta make sure that this man, no razor come upon this man's head. This man ain't gonna touch no wine. This man gonna be italist. So we are vanguards, we are keepers of those traditions that was being placed on earth until now. That's why I keep saying that the wisdom from Adam, the wisdom from Noah, the wisdom from Nimrod is still here amongst I and I. Because when you see us, you see Israel. When you see the Rasta man, it is Israel you're looking at. Straight. You know, if you're not cutting no corners, you're not biting no tongue. You check? How long you going for?
You know, hey, you could do half an hour interview, we could do a 3-hour interview. It's up to you, you know.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know how it goes, man.
Yeah, man.
So, you know, just roll, you know.
Just go just go with the next 5 minutes, you know. Yeah, so Numbers chapter 6, verse 6. All the days that he separates himself to Jah, he shall not go near a dead body. That's why I don't go funerals. You know? It's a serious threat. You know, this thing is not a joke thing. It's not a joke thing. You know? And again, look what part of the Bible is that. It's at the 4th book of the Bible. It's in the beginning. It's not in the end, it ain't in the middle. It's in the beginning. He shall not make himself unclean, even for his father or for his mother, nor for his brother, nor for his sister, when they die, because his separation of Jah is on his head. All the days of his separation he shall be holy unto Jah Rastafari. And if anyone dies very suddenly beside him, and he defiles his consecrated head, then he shall shave his head on the day of that cleansing of the 7th day, he shall shave it. Then on the 8th day he shall bring 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons to the priest to the door of the tabernacles of the meeting. And the priest shall offer one as a sin offering and the other as a burnt offering, and make atonement for him because he sinned in the regard of the corpse, and he shall sanctify his head that same day. He shall consecrate it to Jah the days of his separation, and bring a male lamb in the 1st year as his trespass offering. But the former day shall be lost, because his separation was defiled. Now, this is the law of the Nazarite. When the days of his separation are fulfilled, he shall be brought to the door of the tabernacle of the meeting. And he shall be in present his offering to Jah, 1 male lamb in his 1st year without blemish as a burnt offering, and 1 ewe lamb as the 1st year without blemish as a sin offering, 1 ram without blemish as a peace offering, a basket of unleavened bread, cakes of fine flour mixed with oil, and leavened wafers anointed with oil, and their grain offering with their drink offerings. Then the priest shall bring them before Jah, and offer his sin offering and his burnt offerings. And he shall offer the ram as a sacrifice of peace, as a peace offering to Jah, with the basket of unleavened bread. The priest shall also offer his grain offering to his drink offering. Then the Nazarite shall shave his consecrated head at the door of the tabernacle of the meeting, and shall take the hair from his consecrated head, and put it on the fire, which is under the sacrifices of peace offering. And the priest shall take the boiled shoulder of the ram, one unleavened cake from the basket, and the unleavened wafer, and put them upon the hands of the Nazarite, and after he has shaven his consecrated hair. And the priest shall wave them as a wave offering before Jah, and they are holy for the priest, together with the beast, with the breast of the wave offering, and the tithe of the heave offering. After that the Nazarite may drink wine. This is the law of the Nazarite, who vows to Jah Rastafari the offering for his separation, and besides that, whatsoever else his hand is able to provide according to the vow which he takes, so he must do according to the law of his separation. And Jah Rastafari spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to Aaron and to his sons, saying, This is the way you shall bless the children of Israel. Say to them, the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace, so that you may put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them forevermore. So Numbers chapter 6 give you the whole reason of why I don't know about anybody else, but why I took up that vow and separate myself unto Jah. So when I tried as Rastafari in this time, it's the same thing as back then. It's a Nazarite vow, but just call a new name, because he said now he ain't coming no more as the lamb to the slaughter, but he coming as the lion to conquer, the conquering lion. So he coming in a new name. He coming in a new name. Abraham dwelt in the land of Canaan, and Jah said unto Abraham, lift up now thy eyes and look from the place where the north and the south and the eastward, and you shall see westward. But thou seest to thee, and I will give it to thy seed forever. So the whole of Canaan, the whole of Africa is Zionite people. So no matter what they tell you, they show you about Africa, and Africa is this, and Africa is that, Africa is ours. Africa is ours, and it awaits us. Africa awaits its creator. Our brethren and sisters back in Africa are waiting for us. They have the knowledge. They have the knowledge from home, and we have the knowledge out here in the West. So when the two of us meet, it's just gonna be one unified brotherhood. It's gonna be so glorious. There ain't gonna be no more separation no more. It's gonna just be one people, one love. You know. So within the next hour, when I come forward again to the Power Kingdom Win Place, that's the first time we meet forward again in the high-tech, low-tech studio. And it's your Perspective Talk Show. Come Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday night. We shall continue the conversation as our great brethren Gary loved to always say, Kimba. We will continue the conversation.
Yeah, man. For sure, man. Soup, man, thanks for blessing us up with that again, man. I remember that was going strong. Yeah, man. That's Soup giving us some inspiration on Rastafari, Ethiopia, and Christianity all kind of mixed together. How it all starts, his belief, mine too. You know, you just gotta get yourself in that place. You know,
yes, right.
If you're trying to make the next step in the trot, you know,
yes, right.
And that's what I'm trying to do.
That's right.
That's what I'm trying to do. It hands about that. Anyway, I just want to say that this is the It's Your Perspective Talk Show every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You can reach us at 340-201-9005. Our website is streaming live from the VI.com. We're in a high-tech, low-tech studio. Most importantly, check out all our live recorded shows on our YouTube and Ustream. Our channel is It's Your Perspective Talk Show, and you'll be able to see all our shows there. Definitely bunch of stuff, many people. I just want to give a shout out real quick to Stephen Bullock. He was here last night talking about the STEM program, science, technology, engineering and mathematics. And then who do we have on? We had somebody else on earlier this week here. I forget.
Alvin Burke.
Alvin Burke, yes, Alvin Burke. Big ups to Alvin Burke Jr. He was here talking about the Allen Burke Foundation. And then also too, he was talking about the Soca Monarch Soca Party,
for the
village thing coming up. It's got some big stuff coming up here soon, moving into the latter part of the year. But Soup, man, any final words, man?
As always, one perfect love, Rastafari lives.
Yeah, man, and we like to say that one perfect love is our prayers and His blessings when you put it all together. As Soup was just saying. It's one perfect love, and that's what I'm striving for. You know, the next level, a joyous time in my life. That's what I'm looking for. You know,
that's right.
You know, be among kings, doing things that kings do. That's right. How it goes down, man. So we'll be back next week. We're off for 4 days. We'll be back on Tuesday. We do have some people lined up, but I can't remember exactly who they are.
Right.
But we do have some people lined up, and we'll see you then. Peace.
All right.
Rastafari lives for sure, you know?